Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Chris Cook. I'm the Director of Business Development at Conga, and thank you for joining us today on our Everyone Wins with Conga webinar. A couple of items before we get started. This will be a 30-minute webinar. We do have questions, a question submission area. You can submit those during the webinar. We'll be answering those at the end of the webinar. All the attendees are muted. And this will be a recorded webinar, so you will be able to see it in our webinar archive and on our partner resource page at the conclusion of the webinar. So with that, I'm going to get started and introduce my colleague, Allison Liley, who is our Manager of Business Development. Allison and I work solely with our Conga partners, and this webinar is directed to our Conga partners. So without further ado, we're going to get started.
Thanks, Chris, and hello, everybody. Let me briefly go through our agenda today. First, we're going to cover who is Conga, a little bit about ourselves, and then we'll get into the meat of the presentation, the top 5 benefits for partners and the top 5 benefits to customers. We'll also go over objection handling and the best way to get started with Conga. So, document generation has moved away from being a point solution to driving business enablement and streamlining business processes. So Conga can dramatically impact adoption, user experience, and customer satisfaction with a minimal investment while increasing the value of technology in Salesforce.com. So remember that Salesforce is the major investment in your client's CRM. So Conga will transform the nature of business by simplifying current business processes, alleviating manual interaction, reducing work hours and costs, and ensuring fast, precise, and accurate document generation for any internal or customer-facing output. So that kind of sets the landscape a little bit about Conga and what it can do for you and your customer. So Conga Composer, a little bit about us. We have over 400 5-star reviews, so I encourage you to go through and read those. They're from partners and customers alike. 7 consecutive years in the Salesforce App Exchange Top 10, so we've been around for a while. And as of May, we've been jockeying for position for #1 app on the App Exchange, and that's even amongst the free apps. So again, please go read our reviews to know that we've been around, we know what we're doing, and we like what we do. So a little bit about Conga Composer allows you to take any data from any object within Salesforce, standard or custom object, into a document. So whatever format you want to choose as your template, you can use Word, PowerPoint, Excel, PDF, or HTML email templates. And then you have the flexible delivery options of where you want to actually put that document once it's generated. And then with Conga Conductor and Workflow, you can actually batch or schedule that process. So that's kind of what Conga Composer does in a very, very small nutshell. So some of our customers, this is just a very small list of our customers. But you can see this is trusted by Salesforce. They're actually one of our customers. And we have large and small organizations across all industries. So Conga is truly a one-size-fits-all kind of app. So regardless of the organization size, income, industry, we're a good fit.
Thanks, Allison. I'd like to continue with our top 5 benefits section. And this is something that, as we mentioned at the beginning, is really directed towards partners, but certainly these are benefits to keep in mind across the industry. But for Conga partners, we really want to focus on your relationship, how you can maximize the Conga suite of products in your business. And specifically, we're going to talk for a few minutes about those benefits to you. The first being, we would like to show you a little bit about how Conga Composer and the Conga suite of products can help you increase your utilization and billable hours, provide your clients with a very robust, streamlined business process solutions. And to tag a little bit onto what Allison mentioned earlier, Conga has really moved away from a point document solution. We'd like you to think of this as well into a business process, very simplified, efficient business process solution. So don't just think of a particular document, but think of those business process solutions. We want to help your development team reduce the time that they're spending on reporting and document creation requirements and utilize the full capabilities of the Conga suite. Certainly want to give you the means to strengthen your versatility as a Salesforce consulting partner, distinguish yourself from other consultancies, and then also a way to diversify your service offerings and increase your client satisfaction overall. So let me dig into each one of those. So from a utilization and billable hours standpoint, one thing to tell this group, you may or may not know this, but Conga was started with a very strong support and service orientation and focus. We do not offer any professional services. We rely on our partners like you and want to provide you the opportunities to not only increase your income, utilization, billable hours on Conga implementation, but also any additional projects, additional utilization and billable hours to expand to additional projects with those customers. So with Conga Composer, we give you the ability to identify other multiple business processes that will benefit from Composer. That slide that Allison showed of all of our different Conga customers covers a very wide swath of industry size. So knowing that Composer can work not only in particular business areas, but across those processes as well. So being able to identify those processes as well. Build those Conga solutions, build those templates to add to the utilization of your services. So not only the implementation and the Salesforce pieces, but certainly those Conga solutions and templates that go along with it. And another area to increase that is from a training and user acceptance testing process, being involved in that, rolling that part of that projects into your SOWs, into your projects. So not only the initial Conga implementation, but certainly the other processes, the specifics of solutions and templates, and that additional user sysadmin training and user testing. Don't think of Conga as just a point solution, and I mentioned it on that previous slide, but as part of that overall business process discussion. We want you to be able to have the capabilities to go from an initial set of requirements, through a full process discussion, and give you those means to give your clients a much more robust, streamlined process across those areas. So utilizing Salesforce reports and queries. These are things that people are familiar with from standard and custom objects. Very easily being able to access third-party application data. So not simply the Sales and Service Cloud, but any custom objects, any third-party application data, again, that's part of those other processes. Definitely utilizing the capabilities within Conga and Salesforce to add some logic, to reduce that manual interaction, to automate those steps, to provide those users and those processes with a lot more efficient time savings. So build that logic in. As part of that, those automated pieces that Allison talked about, Conga Workflow and Conga Conductor, are ways to more efficiently automate those steps. So again, streamlining that process, giving your customers those options to say, we have a great solution to build a quote or build an invoice or build a proposal. Now we'd like to automate that, take that to the next step. Gives you as a partner the opportunity to revisit that customer, automate those existing processes, whether it be a Conga Workflow or using Conga Conductor to batch and schedule those existing processes. Great opportunities to provide those clients with much more streamlined solutions, but give you the opportunity as well to engage with those folks. And again, the final piece, looking at integrating with electronic signature solutions. So once that Conga piece is complete, those handoffs to complete that process solution. We really want to and have provided a solution to your consulting teams to reduce the time that they're going to spend on those requirements that might be around reporting or document creation. You know, we have designed Salesforce, our composers designed to use that Salesforce functionality, reports and SOQL queries, building those solutions without coding, building those custom buttons, really giving you the ability to build the templates in a well-known format. So you're familiar with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, and HTML email. So there's not another proprietary system you need to learn. These are familiar areas. Your consultants know how Salesforce reports and SOQL work and are familiar with the Microsoft Office suite as well as HTML email. So we designed it that way for system administrators. It is not required that you be a developer to work with Conga Composer. We want to keep your developers focused on their strengths in other projects and give those consultants the opportunity to use that function within Conga. A couple of those additional tools that can reduce that time and effort is our new template builder in Conga Composer 8. Allows the creation of those templates to be much faster, much more accurate, and much easier. If you've worked on a Conga project before. Do we still have audio, Teresa? Oh, I think we still do. I think it sounds all right. So with that Composer 8, the the template creation is certainly a lot easier if you've worked on that in prior years. And coming soon, something that a lot of customers and a lot of our partners have asked for is a solution manager that can actually accelerate the creation of that entire solution. The button creation, all the parameters is coming soon. You'll be able to see that within the next few weeks and certainly at Dreamforce. So always want to be adding those additional features, those additional functions for you to be able to be much more efficient. We want you to be able to strengthen your versatility as a Salesforce consulting partner and distinguish yourself from others. You are the trusted advisor to your... Oh, hello? Don't have audio. All right, is that better? Yep. Okay. My apologies if we lost the audio for a moment. Great, thank you, Carol and Joan. Do you want me to go back to that previous slide? Did we lose it at the part of that, or want me to continue? Yes. I'm going to go back up. Okay. So, to kind of go back and backtrack a little bit, another real benefit is reducing the time your team spends on those Conga projects. So we designed Conga Composer to use Salesforce functionality and well-known template formats to build those solutions. So we're not requiring development or code to build those Conga solutions. We're using existing Salesforce functionality of reports and SOQL queries to gather that data. We're using familiar template formats, Word, Excel, PDF, PowerPoint, and our HTML email template builder. These are all familiar. They're designed for template creation. The new template builder in Conga Composer 8, again, a much, much better improvement on building those templates in a much more flexible, fast, and accurate way. We designed Conga Composer for system administrators. This is not a project or a solution set that requires a developer. We designed it for that. So we've built these tools to assist those so that your developers can be focused on development projects, other areas, be able to use that resource in a much better fashion. Coming soon too, a lot of you may have asked over the years, or if you're familiar with Conga Composer, the steps to build that Conga Composer solution, build that button, add in those parameters. The new solution manager accelerates the creation of that. So you'll be able to see that in a beta testing here soon, but also certainly at Dreamforce. So please do stop by and see us there. All right. We want to strengthen your versatility as a Salesforce consulting partner and distinguish yourself from other consultancies. You are the trusted advisor to your customers. They rely on you to recommend the best solutions, the best applications, and be able to be the go-to people for those. So we want to be able to offer you those, for you to be able to offer those solutions, be that one-stop shop solution for those customers, and be able to have Conga Composer enhance all of those projects. So adding those document generation solutions to your functional areas, offer those more solutions, and utilize the most popular app on the App Exchange. Think about that in all of those projects. And diversify your service offerings and increase that client satisfaction. Ultimately, you want to have a full complement of tools available for all of your requirements. Conga fulfills a really strong functionality that native Salesforce doesn't. Document generation and document creation is not a strength natively in Salesforce. We're going to be able to help you consolidate those processes, build those enhancements, be that point of contact, and again, think of it as an entire business process. Deliver a clean, streamlined process for those customers, save them time, simplify their lives, make it easier for those users. All right. I'm going to turn it over to Allison now for our next section.
All right, thanks, Chris. We'll go ahead and talk about the top 5 benefits to the customers. So one of the biggest things is to reduce the number of employee work hours spent specifically on complex document generation and business processes. So we really want to alleviate the administrative duties and give salespeople more time to sell. So we want to free up the sales team to sell and let them do what they need to do. So also we want to increase the accuracy and preserve the branding and document creation. Companies work really hard to create their image. They spend a lot of money on their branding. So help them preserve their brand by allowing them to dictate and even track exactly what's being sent out to their customers. Let them have a little bit more control of what's being sent out. Increase accuracy of legal binding documents also to reduce that legal risk and help with risk management. Another way to do that, as Chris was talking about, is to also integrate with any of our electronic signature solutions. Next, you definitely want to simplify the processes. Documents can be created dynamically based on values within Salesforce, eliminating manual interaction and reducing errors. So as Chris kind of touched on, you can use logic both within the button code and within the actual template to make the process smart and make the selections for them and just take out any sort of user interaction or decision making, and eliminate the subjective selection and the user interpretation with the pre-built logic in that process. So increase and broaden user adoption. Make it easy for them, make it useful, and add incentives for utilizing Salesforce. So stick in there their dashboards, their incentive compensation. Get them in there as something that they need to do their job and that they're curious about. And lastly, dramatically impact the user experience and your client's customer satisfaction with minimal investment. Really, their investment, again, is in Salesforce, and Conga just maximizes the power of their Salesforce investment. So next we'll get into some objection handling. We're going to hear a lot of things from people. They're a little resistant to add additional apps. Oftentimes they buy Salesforce and then aren't aware that it can't do everything they need it to do natively. And that's where we come in. So one of the big things that you'll hear after they make their big investment in Salesforce is it's not in the budget. So know that most of Conga customers find that the time and the cost savings of their solutions basically offset the cost of an annual subscription in less than a month. So even within the first 30-day free trial, you can actually realize a positive ROI before even paying for the app. This is also a good time to assess all aspects of the customer's business to ensure that functional areas have the option to use Conga. So one solution may not warrant the price. However, looking at multiple solutions across the organization's functional areas will maximize that investment. So, maybe purchasing is using it to do POs or invoicing or something like that. Take a look at what the sales process is doing. So take a look at, what marketing's doing, what documents they're creating as well, and really get the most out of Conga across all their functional areas. So by critically looking at the processes and how much time Conga Composer saves the organizations, partners can kind of estimate an ROI to help them realize just how much they're actually saving by subscribing to Conga. So we do have an ROI calculator to estimate the cost savings, so we can kind of show you how to use that. We also have a lot of case studies in which different people measure ROI. As you know, ROI can be kind of subjective based on different measurements. So good way to kind of go through and peruse how other people have measured their ROI with purchasing Conga. Also remember that Salesforce is the big investment here. So Conga maximizes the value of their selected CRM platform. And this is a quote from our beloved COO, Mark Whiteside. So for those of you who know him, this definitely kind of captures it. Who doesn't have the budget for a solution that delivers 1,000% ROI? So Mark said that, and we wanted to pass that on to you. Now this is a nice diagram as you're looking at the budget issues to kind of explore some of the other functional areas. So be sure to evaluate all internal and external processes. So who do these functional areas interact with? How does shipping interact with sales and human resources and finance? So any document that's internal facing or external facing can be created with Conga Composer. So keep that in mind. Oftentimes people come to you to solve a particular problem, but look at the organization as a whole and look at the possibilities of where it can really fit into their business. Another common objection is we don't have anyone to manage Conga. What's going to happen after it's built and we have this process? Well, basically, the nice thing about Conga is any Salesforce admin will have permissions and skills to basically make the changes, to administer new solutions. They will be able to do that in addition with working with us and all of our resources and training team. But also, this is another way that you can add the utilization to offer that Conga admin training at the end of your deployment. So you can certainly add that as an additional cost or an additional service that you offer, and present all of the available support resources that we have. So we have, as most of you know, great documentation. We have a lot of videos, a knowledge base, all different kinds of things, webinars, of course, quick start videos, and of course our support team, our Conga business analysts here at Conga. That's where we really get our 5-star ratings, is because of the personalized service that we give to our customers. So also introduce that customer to their Conga business analyst here. Everybody likes to have a face and make things a little more personal. Okay, Chris.
Thanks, Allison. I'd like to also talk a little bit about a couple other objections that we've heard from customers and also from partners as well, that Composer's not as simple as it sounds. And depending on the complexity of those requirements, the great thing about Conga Composer is it can be as simple or as complex as a customer chooses or needs. We always recommend with customers and always recommend with partners as we're working, hopefully early on in that requirement cycle, is keep the process open and straightforward and simple at first. You can always add complexity as those requirements change. And as Allison likes to say, Rome wasn't built in a day. And just because we can use that complexity doesn't necessarily mean that we should. So these are great recommendations that customers might see a very complicated solution, but that's not where we started, that's where we ended. So keep that process open, very straightforward, add those complexity. Great comment that I love to talk about is not every requirement needs a solution. So again, start simple. There's always those layers of complexity you can add. We have a a solution for just about every requirement, but again, there's a lot of resources out there on the Conga sphere, videos, webinars, knowledge base articles, our Conga University training and certification program. What Allison kind of spoke to a little bit in that previous slide is there's a lot of resources available, and your interaction and the process that you go through to gather those requirements, build a simple, straightforward solution for them, do that handoff, that user acceptance training, and have them feel comfortable with that solution, also can be supplemented not only by our business analyst team, but those other resources as well. So it certainly has a lot more functionality, Conga Composer today, as it was 4 or 5 years ago. You can do a lot more with that, but along with it, we've given you a lot more resource and your customer a lot more resource to be able to go through that process. Okay. Also, another thing too is, we don't think our field folks are going to use it. We don't think we're going to have that adoption. User adoption is always a challenge with salespeople, field people as well. We want to give your customer skeptical users, right, a solution that's straightforward, easy, very accurate, and a great way to increase that adoption. Make that process simple and encourage that usage. So that previous slide of keeping it simple, right? Folks will always tend to be resistant to change, but we want you to know that their time is money. And if we can provide them with a great solution, they've spent the time to put the information in Salesforce. Let's make this business process easy. So getting those folks involved with that user acceptance training and the change management early is really key. Creating those automated solutions, the very simple solutions where people can say, oh, it only takes me 1 or 2 clicks with Composer to get to this process. That's where the buy-in is going to be. That's where they're going to be able to benefit. And another kind of mantra we use is using the right format of the data, the right people using it at the right time. That will help with those improvements. Super. An annual subscription. This is one that we hear in some cases. That there's a resistance to annual subscriptions. Most of our customers, as Allison said, we recognize a positive ROI right away. We break down that pricing so you're able to show how affordable Conga is on a monthly basis. So being able to say you can talk a per user per month investment certainly is a way to get around that annual subscription conversation sometimes. Not get around it, but address it and deal with it. Certainly being able to talk about our support during the trial period, during that subscription period as well. But also, we offer a risk-free trial period of Conga Composer. Really alleviates that risk to say, we're going through this process early. We see the results of this process. We see the benefits. We're able to strengthen that case of, great, we've used it. We've had some other people look at it. We have that risk down before we commit to that annual subscription. And ultimately, Salesforce requires that annual subscription. People are used to it. We found that by working with partners early, offering that free trial period, risk abatement, and then also be able to talk about a per user per month investment. When it comes down to that, makes a really, really good case for Conga Composer. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to Allison to talk a little bit about getting started and some more specific kind of details for our partners.
Okay, thanks, Chris. So with the partner support engagement, we have a couple requirements. So engage early, talk to us about requirements, functionality, and best practices early on to save time during the implementation. So a lot of times, you kind of trot down the wrong way, or a path that maybe isn't as efficient as some of the ideas or tricks that we have up our sleeves. So it's always good to just kind of touch base with us early. We're happy to help. We've been doing this a long time, and we can dig you out pretty quickly and get you started on the right path. So definitely start with us at their first requirements, and talk with us about how to achieve that and what products would be necessary to achieve their requirements. And you can call or email our business analyst team when needed, of course. I'm sure all of you have done that at some point. So call us directly, or go ahead and submit an email case to support@congamerch.com, and we're always happy to help. So you can install Conga on behalf of a client, install the desired Conga product from the salesforce.com. So go ahead and install it wherever you want, into a sandbox, a development org, wherever you want to put that production. And then just shoot us an email at support@congamerch.com with the subject of partner deployment, put in your consultancy, and then the customer name. And that way we know to tie you early on as you're a contact to that particular account. And include the salesforce.com org ID in the body of the email. So that's a good thing to do, especially if you're looking to become an alliance partner. It easily allows us to track that you've been involved with a particular deployment. And as you know, if you get 3 or more deployments, we'll invite you to become a part of the Conga Alliance Partner Team, which is another conversation. Okay, and lastly, our resources. Don't forget about our documentation, quick starts, and webinars. We have the Conga blog, of course, and that's a good way to go and kind of see how other people are using it, some good tips and tricks that are a little off the beaten path. We have some great videos, YouTube and youtube.com at Congamerge. So go ahead and look at all of those videos that we've compiled about various tips and tricks. Partner resource page, we also have that now for you, where you can go and get partner specific information, and we also now have a demo kit for you where you can go install it and have a demo up and running for your clients, so you don't have to spend your time building a POC. We've built that for you. So again, call or email our business analyst team if and when you get stuck, and we're always happy to help. Chris?
Great. Thanks, Allison. I guess one other thing I wanted to kind of reiterate was the real importance of engaging early. I guess we can't really overemphasize that enough. Is as soon as you have some requirements from a customer, install into a dev org or sandbox, talk with us about the best process, the best route to go. That time early on can certainly help that project go down, like as Allison said, go down that right path, offer some new tips and tricks that might save you some time and efficiency, maximize all of those Conga benefits as well. All right. We've kind of hit our time. I want to make sure we have time for some questions. There definitely is like I said, the question and answer session on the GoToMeeting. So if you have some questions, if not, you can certainly submit those as well after. But we'd like to thank you all very, very much. If you have any questions at all following this, you can reach Allison and I both. Certainly can send us a note at support@congamerch.com. Our information is available as well. But thank you. We really appreciate this. This webinar is going to be recorded. It will be available on that Congamerge Partner Resources page, as well as our webinar archive. So thank you all very, very much. Have a great day.